Cool. So, guys, let's talk about prospecting and actually sending outreach messages. Okay, so last episode, I walked you guys through how exactly we're going to be finding businesses, which is obviously using Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, communities, school, whatever it is. But now, today's video, I'm going to be walking you guys through exactly how to message them and the different types of ways you're actually going to obviously message these clients, prospect them, and then sign them as your client, right? And there's two different types of ways that you can prospect a client. You can either prospect a client directly or you can prospect a client indirectly. Okay, and essentially what it is finding a business to offer your appointments and services for. Now, there's a range that you can do, kind of like I explained over here in the episode before this, but my personal favorite is Instagram, all right? And prospecting is the act of finding clients to work for, and there's two ways. You can do it direct or indirect. I just repeated myself there. Cool. Here's an example of what a direct message is. So a direct message, essentially the theory behind a direct message is in the first message that you're sending a direct pitch as to what it is that you are wanting them to do. So in this situation, we'd be directly pitching them for us to be their high ticket sales rep, whether that's their appointment setter or whether that's their closer, okay? For instance, here's an example. Have you got a killer appointment setter booking you calls and scaling your business's revenue? If not, then we should solve that unless you hate money. Okay. Now, that was literally something I just cooked up right here before. And as you can see, it's an example of prospecting, right? You're going straight to the point and you're doing it directly. So they have no sort of questions or no sort of confusion on what it is that you're looking to do. Okay, it's very clear by what your message is, what you're looking to do, and they can obviously go through your profile and they can decide if they want to obviously reply back or ask any questions. Okay, indirect is essentially asking a question. Okay, you are obviously still prospecting them, but you are prospecting them indirectly, and you are prospecting them by essentially reaching out to them and starting a conversation that you are going to move and progress into what the end goal is, right? So it's the indirect way of obviously direct prospecting, which is, have you ever worked with an appointment setter before? Can you see by this message, we're not directly pitching them anything. We're not directly asking them anything. We're not directly trying to give them a solution straight away. We're simply just asking them, all right, cool. Like, have you worked with a setter before? Do you know what I mean? Okay, it's a question. And this is what you'd kind of use as an example of indirect. Okay, and obviously you'd split test and you'd find different ways for you to kind of put your own twin on it. Okay. Now, some messages are better to send directly, and some people are better to message directly, and some people are better to message indirectly. All right. For instance, big accounts. All right. People like, I don't know, some of the biggest pace people that you can see. Say if Iman Ghazi posted on the story he's hiring some sales reps. The worst thing that you could do is message in Iman Ghazi an indirect message. Okay, because obviously even though it's probably not even going to be him handling the DMs, it might be his VA or whoever. And even if it was him handling the DMs at the moment, he does not have the time to be having indirect conversations with people. Okay, especially people that he doesn't know. Okay, so a bigger account, people with more followers, you want to go straight and direct to the point and show them exactly what it is that you want to do for them and allow them to evaluate it from there, all right? And obviously you're going to be able to use skill and you're going to be able to use a lot of what we speak about in the modules moving forward and exactly how you're going to be able to do this. However, if you were to message, let's say, a smaller account, it'd be indirect and you'd be more like relationship building. Okay, so even like medium to smaller accounts, like indirect works well, and indirect works really well if you're trying to do something called a pattern interrupt, right? Now, a pattern interrupt is essentially something that catches people off guard. Okay, a pattern interrupt, there's so many examples of a pattern interrupt. It's like, have you ever been speaking to someone and they've just said something out of the blue? Or have you ever seen someone wearing something that's caught your eye? It's like a pattern interrupt. You've interrupted their pattern, and pattern interrupts, like you can use them in messages. That is what is going to get people to kind of, it's going to get people to essentially reply because it's caught their eye, they've seen the message and they're like, you know what, I want to reply. Do you know what I mean? It's caught them off by guard and they're so intrigued. Okay, so indirect messages, you can also send them to bigger accounts, but you just want to use something called a pattern interrupt. And I'll show you an example of this, all right? But here are some do's and don'ts when you're outreaching, okay? Don'ts. First things first is send long paragraphs, okay? Like, if someone sends me a message and it looks like this, all right? Don't even read what it says. But if someone sends me a message on Instagram and it looks like this, and I don't know who they are, I promise you I'm not going to read it, because I probably receive hundreds like that every single month. And it's like people's attention span, people that we're dealing with nowadays, their attention span is very, very flipping short. Okay, so they are not going to, especially like business owners who are busy, they are not going to read long paragraphs, especially if they feel like you're trying to pitch them on something. Don't send a false compliment, okay? Don't say something like I love your content, especially if you don't love their content. I remember the first time I was ever doing some outreach. This was like one of my ever first dates. I was doing some outreach. I messaged the business owner. I was like, love your content, bro. And he was like, bro, you literally just followed me 2 minutes ago. What do you mean you love my content? He G-checked me on the call. Not even on the call. He G-checked me in the DMs. And that like really like shook me up, and I was like, oh damn, like I need to like, it's just not easy. I need to get better. So you don't want to send a false compliment like I love your content, especially if you don't. Now, don't get twisted. If you love their content, if you actually do watch, you want to mention their content and mention what you like about it, and actually show that you have, you aren't just saying that to like every single person you're outreaching. But rule of thumb is you just don't want to include false compliments, okay? I just came across your page. Everyone says it. Sounds generic. You don't want to sound generic either. Like if you see other people or another 10 people or 10 of your other friends sending the same message, what do you think the worst thing to do? Send that exact same message, because you're putting yourself in the category or in the same bucket as those people, right? It's like dating and pickup lines. Do you know what I mean? If you send pickup lines, or if you say pickup lines that everyone else uses, it's like nothing special, okay? Now, the way you're going to be able to mitigate that, so if you are sending outreach messages that other people are using, is by going over what I said in the other modules, which is making sure you've got a sick page, you've got sick results on your page, you've done everything that you can, so that people are more likely to respond. Kind of like the dating again, like the better you look, the more success you're going to have with whatever you say, okay? Don't send a message like it sounds like it's been copy and pasted to everyone. You always want to try and specifically personalize it to the person. Okay, it used to really work well, like just changing their name, but now AI can do that. So like business owners are catching on to that. But say if you're mentioning something about their page, what it is that they're doing. Say if you're sending a direct message, or even if you're sending an indirect message, you want to make it so that it looks like you've actually taken the time out to send it to them. That's why I always recommend as well, like sending multiple messages at a time, which we're going to go into later on. Okay, don't send clunky messages. And finally, make it easy to reply. Don't make them think, okay? You don't want to send a message that someone has to exert a load of brain power to reply, because guess what? They're not going to want to reply, okay? Because if it takes long for them to reply, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be in the mood to reply either way. So they're not going to, they're going to want to step back from it. But then if it's hard to reply ever, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Here are some do's though. You want to look through their page for unique things to mention, e.g. a recent post they made, or posts that, they've made in the past. And actually make sure you're specific about what the post was. Don't just say your recent reel was facts, bro. Okay? Maybe also look through their following. Like I noticed you're following XYZ, or I noticed I noticed you like this content. I noticed you like this. If a business owner is able to see that you've taken the time out to actually show you've done research on what it is that they're following or what they like, it breaks the ice and it gets their first reply. You want to make your message aesthetically pleasing to the eye. It's kind of like what I said earlier, right? You want to make sure that it's chunked up. So we're saying outreach message, intro, pitch. Say that's just an example, right? And it doesn't even have to just be the pitch at this part, but can you see here, in a message, you've got the intro to the message, an example over here. Have you ever worked with an appointment, have you currently got an appointment setter booking you calls? And then you either send it or you just break it down into a paragraph. And then as you can see now, you've got the pitch and it looks more pleasing to the eye. Okay, there's some source for you there. You want to take the time to look through their page and see what you can comment about and find common interests. And you want to be creative and spark curiosity. And you want to treat the leads that you're talking to as if you were talking to a girl. All right? When you're speaking to a girl, trying to make her laugh, trying to make her feel good, trying to charm her, you kind of want to treat leads like that. Okay? Okay, you want to treat these business owners like that, and obviously you want to make sure the speed to lead is important. You're not just going to be ghosting them to seem busy, but you're essentially going to put the same effort with every single thing that you're trying to do. You're showing your best foot forward. Okay, you're still being natural. You're still not overthinking it, but you're sparking curiosity. You're trying to make them think. You're trying to make them laugh. Okay, you're trying to make them want to speak to you more. Kind of like what I said earlier, mention something interesting about what they follow, what's in their highlights, it works like a treat, okay? Let's talk about pattern interrupts too, because as I kind of spoke about here, like a pattern interrupt, it catches people off guard. I remember about basically a year ago now, right? I remember I sent a business owner this message and he posted it. It was a really big guy. He said, let's have a boxing match. If I win, I'll be your setter. If I lose, I'll be your setter. Well, I changed this to sales management. He laughed and he put it on a story and it got his attention. Okay, I think I even might have a screenshot. I'm not sure if I put it here. So no, I didn't put it. I didn't put the screenshot here. But yeah, it's like messages like that. The reason why he really liked that is because it was different. Okay, it was something that he probably gets messages like this all the time, but because I sent that and because it was different, he was like, "Yeah, all right, this guy's cool," and we actually had a conversation. Okay, he laughed, he put it on a story, and it was a pattern interrupt, and I wasn't taking it too seriously. A load of people with their outreach message, the mistake that they'll make is, they'll be super strict, super regimented, and they're just not thinking. They're not having fun with it, and they're not thinking outside of the box. Okay, so that's always what you want to think about and what you want to incorporate when you're sending outreach messages. Like a good message example here is like, you're real about the best ways to lose weight by macro count and change my perspective on a lot of my daily eating habits, bro. Keep up the good work. You probably get these messages all the time. I just wanted to see if you had a setter at the moment, or if you had a setter also. Or you could even end it off with like, all right, cool. You can make it a kind of indirect message, like, are you handling your DMs at the moment? Notice how this one, I wanted to see if you had a setter also. It's kind of like direct because he knows that's what you're pitching for. So is this, but this is more of like an indirect question. Or, yo, bro, I love the message. I love the emphasis on your page about personal branding. It's true, personal branding is the way forward. I've been working as an appointment setter for a while now, okay? Something like that, okay, it clearly shows, obviously, as you can see, this was directed to a fitness coach. This would be someone who maybe helps people with personal branding, or, if you were to do it with trading coach, whoever you're outreaching to, it's the exact same effect, right? But essentially you're thinking of well thought out things and like showing what you've actually observed their page, okay? Have you got a killer appointment set up booking you calls? Okay, a terrible message is something like this. It's like, hey bro, I just came across your page and I really love your content. I think the videos you're posting are amazing. Are you currently working with a commission-based appointment setter? I can come into your business and help you book a ton of calls and make you tons of sales. Okay, there's so many things wrong with this message. Hey bro, hey equals, like, we never want to be sending hey like the beginning of our messages because everyone says this. I just came across your page, second red flag that I talked about. Love your content. Nothing actually mention what they like about their content. I think the videos you post are amazing. It's like, there's no substance. Okay, we're not showing that we've actually taken a look, and it looks copy and pasted. Are you currently working with a commission-based appointment set at the moment? I can come into your business and help you book tons of calls. We're just pitching something straight away and we're sounding desperate, okay? That is not what you want your message to sound like, and you want to make sure that your message just sounds like this and that you're also thinking outside the box, all right? You want to go out and genuinely just have fun. One of the best ways to become creative and get people and business owners to reply is think, how can I say something that this business owner has never heard? Okay, like these were some messages me and my student made up out here in Thailand. It was like, 1 month of me appointment setting is all we need to show you how I completely changed the game. So let me know if you want to make more money. If you don't hear me out on how I can be your appointment setter, you clearly seriously must hate money. As you can see there, these are messages that literally just going out and having fun. Okay, weren't taking it too seriously, weren't taking ourselves too seriously, but we were showing them that, listen, we're great guys, we were adding our own personality, we were thinking, all right, how can I make a pattern interrupt, how can I make it so that, he has never heard this before, and that's why they worked, all right? So hopefully you found that video useful. This is the 2 types of ways that you're going to be prospecting clients if you're doing outreach. Remember those do's, remember those don'ts, remember those examples. Go away and actually split test these things. Split test how you can actually make them better, okay? If you don't know what split testing, you probably don't actually know what split testing is. So that's probably what's going to be my next video. But other than that, guys, crush it, take care, and I'll see you on the next episode of Bootcamp.